In 1971, I was a flight attendant based here in Vancouver. I was doing domestic flying at that time, and it was across the prairies, up and down, and it was a long duty day. But by the time we ended, it was getting near the end of supper time when we landed in Winnipeg. So we gathered up our luggage and got off the aircraft and went down to get into the taxi. When we got down there, I thought, ooh, it's a little bit chilly out here. So we all climbed into the cab and he drove off, and he took us to the Hotel Fort Garry in downtown Winnipeg. We get out of the cab and we hustle ourselves into the lobby, and we went right across to the check-in counter, and we all got our room keys and we're all ready to go upstairs. So we went across the lobby to get on the elevator. So when we got on the elevator, this young man comes out of nowhere and he's barging his way in amongst us, and we go, oh my goodness. But as we got on, we pressed our button floor where we're going to be getting off at. So the door closes, and one of the girls that was close to the panel, she says, excuse me, young man, would you like me to press the floor that you'd like to be getting off at? No, I'll get it when you girls get off, never mind. Okay, we go up and the door opens and a couple girls get off. And this happened a couple of times because we all didn't get off on the same floor. So when we got to the top of the building, I'm looking to the girl that I was working with, and that young man is still on the elevator. So we just shrugged our shoulders, picked up our suitcases and headed off and down to our rooms. As we were putting our keys into the door, I was thinking to myself, where is that guy? So I looked down the hallway and I go, he's staring at us. So I just stared back. And when he realized I was staring at him, he took off. So I said to the girl next to me, I said, I think I'm gonna call downstairs and let them know about this guy. He makes me really nervous. And she says, yes, can you do that? Because he makes me really nervous too. He gives me the creeps. I said, yeah, I can do that. Okay, well, I'll see you later, and see you in the morning. And we went into our rooms. I walk into my room and I'm going, whoa, what a room. High ceilings, twin double beds. Oh, very fancy. And it was just wonderful. And it was a little stuffy. So I decided to go over to the window, to open the window to get some air in here. So it was stuck. I couldn't budge that window, so I thought, oh, well, I'll deal with that later. So I go over in between the two beds because that's where the telephone was located, next to the nightstand. So I took my coat off, threw it over on the bed, and I picked up the phone and I got the operator. And when she answered, I said, I'd like to report an incident that just happened on the elevator about this young man. And I proceeded to tell her what happened. And then I told her what he looked like, how tall he was, Caucasian guy, striped shirt he was wearing, and he really wasn't very cooperative in letting us know where he wanted to go. And he really made us very nervous. And she says, okay, thank you. And she hung up. Okay, well, I guess I reported it. Okay, now I'm thinking, I guess I'm getting kind of hungry. Maybe I should go downstairs for supper. So I went into the bathroom to change my clothes, and I came out and I grabbed my coat, I grabbed my purse, I grabbed my key, and I grabbed my book because I'm going to eat by myself. So I went downstairs and I thought I might go down the street. Yeah, I went outside and oh goodness gracious, it was so cold. I just made an about face and came back into the hotel and went to the dining room. So there I ordered a really nice dinner and was reading my book and having my dinner and really enjoying myself. After a while, I thought, ooh, I better get upstairs because I've got an early morning crew call. So I get upstairs and I opened the door and I took my coat off, threw it over the chair, and I thought, well, it's not that bad in here now. So I did go over to the TV and turn it on because back in those days, it didn't matter what channel you were on. There was always this black reader strip at the bottom of every channel that gives you the weather, the traffic, all the other news that anybody in the locals, Winnipeggers, want to know. And so while the TV was warming up, I went into the bathroom and got ready for bed. I come back out into the main room and I see on that reader, it says the temperature is minus 14 degrees Celsius. Ooh, that is cold. So I went over and turned off the TV and I was going to get into bed and just go to bed. But I didn't close the curtains over my windows because I'm at the top of the building. All there's out there is the moon and stars. Lovely. So I climbed into bed, turned off the light, and went to sleep. And I was really tired. I know I fell asleep very fast. So then all of a sudden in the night, it started to get really kind of warm in here. So I looked at the clock and it said 2:00 in the morning. Oh my goodness. Well, I got up. I didn't turn on the lights because the moon was shining and so brightly. So I went into the bathroom to get a drink of water. And then I just went back to bed. Pulled the covers over my head, back to sleep. Wasn't too long after that, I heard some noises, people out in the hallway, and I'm thinking, gosh, did they have to make so much noise? You know, come on. Some of us have to sleep. We've got to get up in the morning. All of a sudden, I heard this guy banging on my door, yelling, fire, fire, get out. Okay, these hotel parties are getting really out of hand now, so I just try to pull the blankets over my head and go back to sleep. And all of a sudden, I could smell something and taste something. And, oh, man, what is it? So I reached over and turned on the light, and I sat up, and I thought, oh, my God, the room was half full of black smoke, and it was billowing into my room over the transom that was open over the door. And I thought, oh, my God, okay. So I get up, and I put my shoes on, and I ran over to the door because I got to do a tactile search to see how hot it is because I want to get out of here. And it's really hot. But I'm going to open the door because I just need to see if I can get out. So I opened the door, oh my God, and I slammed it again because it was like opening the door to a furnace. From the top of the window sill, or top of the door to the bottom of the door and the width of the door, it was all flames, like opening the furnace. So, okay. Now, well, I better go to the washroom, and I got all the towels and I threw them in the bathtub and got them soaking wet, brought them out, and I put them in front of the door because that's what you're told to do. And then I thought, okay, I want to get my coat on. I opened up the closet. My coat's not there. Where's my coat? Oh, yes, it's on the chair. I threw it there last night. So I put my coat on, and the lights in the room were still on. So I went over to the desk and to phone downstairs. And I got the operator and I said, listen, there's a fire right outside my door. What would you like me to do? She says, can you make a run for it, honey? I said, no, that's not even a choice. And I said, listen, when the firemen get here, tell them that I'm on the floor between the two beds and I'm waiting. And so then I wanted to say some more, and then she hung up. And then all of a sudden the lights flickered, the lights went out, and the phone went dead. And I'm standing there. I hung up the phone, but I better lay down on the floor. So while I was laying there, I thought, oh man, I can hardly breathe now, and I can't even see. But I remembered I had a scarf in my pocket, so I picked up the scarf and I put it over my mouth and nose so I can get some oxygen in. And I'm thinking, okay, I got to get out of here. And then I went back to my days in my training that when the instructor said, when your main exit is blocked, you look for an alternate exit. Okay, my alternate exit. Well, I guess it's got to be the window. But where's the window? By this time, I had no idea which way I was facing. It was all black. So I thought, okay, there's a desk at the end of these two beds. I remember that. So if I could touch the beds and keep going backwards until I could feel the end of the beds, then maybe I can get out. So anyway, I get to the end of the beds, I turn myself around, and then I started crawling on all fours until I could feel the desk. But my head hit the desk. And then I thought, okay, now the window has got to be to the right of me. So, okay, I move over and I'm still crawling and I'm going to go ahead. Oh, I hit the chair. Perfect. This is good. Keep going until I hit that wall. So I hit the wall, and now I know. Now I've got to keep crawling along the wall until I can find the window. And while I'm doing that, I'm thinking, oh, there's the radiator. Oh, there it is. And I looked up and squinted and I said, yeah, there's the window. So I'm thinking, okay, I've got to get up and get that window open. And I was really going to try with all my might, but I got the window open. It was like melted butter. And then I took a breath of air really fast because the smoke immediately took over. And I yelled, help! And I'm thinking, well, that's pretty stupid. Who's going to hear me at this hour of the night, in the middle of the night? And then all of a sudden I heard two voices calling, saying, "Get out on the ledge. Get out on the ledge." I said, "The ledge? Who are you? And where are you?" "We're in the room next to you. Just push out that screen and get out." Okay, back to my training. I know how to get out of a window. So I remembered that you got to push the screen out with your foot, then you get your head and shoulders out, and then you hoist yourself up onto the ledge. And ledge, this is not a ledge, it's a windowsill. And it's straight down. And I am afraid of heights. So I'm sitting there and I'm leaning my head against the back of the building to feel like I'm still there. And the young man says, "Close the window or the smoke's going to overtake you and you're going to fall." "Oh, really? Thanks." And I reached for the window, but I said, "I can't do it." But I closed it a bit. And then I said to them, "There's a girl in the room on my other side. I don't know if she got out yet." And I gave them her name. And we were all yelling for her. And we kept yelling. And I said, "Oh, just forget it. I think she probably made it out." And they said, "Okay." And we're waiting. And then all of a sudden she came out and she's calling for me. And I said, "Oh my God, well, get out on the ledge." She said, "The ledge?" I said, "Yeah, we've been through this. Just push that screen out and get out here and join us." She said, "Oh my goodness, I can't." I said, "You can. Come on." So she did. She managed to get out onto the ledge. Now there's the four of us out there and we're kind of wondering what's going on next. And we're waiting. And then all of a sudden there was a bang crash in the room. And I thought, "Oh my God, what's that?" And we thought, "Oh, maybe it's the firemen. Maybe they got here." And I thought, well, where did they come from? "Oh, maybe they came in through the back. Who knows?" So we were waiting for them to come and rescue us. And we're waiting and waiting and waiting. And nobody came. And I thought, oh my goodness, what? Then all of a sudden, off in a distance, we could hear the firing trucks coming. The sirens were coming. And I thought, oh good, here they come now. And they came right down in front of us because we were facing the front of the building. We saw the firemen getting out, and now they're going to come upstairs. And it took them a while. And I thought, well, I guess they have to put the fire out before they can get at us. And it was a while. And finally, we could hear them breaking down the door, and they came in. Two firemen came into my room. And the one fellow comes over to the window, and he says, "Come on, girl, we got to get you out of here." And I said, "No, I'm not going in there." He said, "You got to get out." I said, "No, I can't see and I can't breathe. Give me your mask, please." So he takes his mask off and he gives it to me and I put it on. He says, "Okay, girl, let's go." So he brings me in and I'm looking around. I'm going, oh my God, what happened? All the walls, everything had collapsed right into the room, everything. And then I saw this hole in the ceiling and I'm thinking, oh my God, there must have been offices up there because there was a big, huge oak desk that had landed on my bed and then tipped over in between the two beds with a typewriter on it and a telephone on it. And I'm thinking, oh God, if I had stayed there, I would be crushed to death. But then I saw the other fireman over by the end table and I said, "Excuse me, sir, could I have my jewelry?" "No, you can't have your jewelry. You can't take anything from the room." And I said, "Well, I haven't left my room yet. Can I have my jewelry, please?" And this guy said, "Would you give her jewelry and so we can get out of here?" He says, "Okay." So he scraped it up and he climbed over all this garbage and brought it to me. And he says, "Can we go now?" And he said, "Let's go now." And I said, no, we're not going anywhere yet." He says, "Now what?" He says, "I want my purse." And he said, "Okay." But he had one of these big, huge flashlights. So he's shining all over the place. And I said, "Excuse me, sir, you're standing on it." Oh, so he bends over, he picks it up and shakes it off and he gives it to me. He says, "Now can we go?" And I said, "Yes." So all three of us are heading out of the doorway. I get out into the doorway and I'm going, oh, good God. There was black streaks from up the walls, along the ceiling, down the other walls, and across the carpet. There was a lot of them. And it's like, oh, it was horrible. The smell was overtaking. It smelled like gasoline and like burning embers, maybe, from the carpets, I think. And then he said, "Come on." So we went down the hallway. And then I felt the crunch of the glass under my shoes. And I thought, oh, yes. And I could see these doors had been broken. But the lights were working in the hotel, at that end of the hotel, near the elevator. So we got on the elevator and they took us down to the lobby. When I got to the lobby and I looked up and I'd see all these people, I thought, oh my goodness. And one of the flight attendants said, hey, that looks like Lilly. And another girl said, how do you know it's Lilly? And the first girl says, I can tell by her eyes. And I'm thinking, my eyes? That's weird. And then the fireman said, come on, we got to go. So we were taken outside. Now, the fire chief had a fire truck, and that's what we were hauled into the back of this truck, all of us, and they took off for St. Boniface Hospital. When we got to the hospital, they opened up the back doors, and all you could see in the night sky was plain black prairie and an odd light off in the distance. But while we were waiting for the staff to come out, we could actually feel the heat of the hospital still inside that truck. So they came out with the wheelchairs and the blankets, and then we got in, bundled up into the wheelchairs, and they're going to hustle us in. I yelled, stop, it hurts, it's hurting me. And the others were yelling the same thing, and they had to stop right there because we had no idea that we had been out on that ledge for probably over 2 hours. And we were just so cold that the heat was hurting. So they slowly finally got us into emergency, and we were put on stretchers, and the curtains were closed. And this nurse comes in with this nice fluffy white towel, face cloth. And she just wiped my face, and I was so shocked to see black. Oh my gosh. And the nurse says, it's okay, dear, I'll be right back. She closed the curtains. And then no sooner did she did that, the curtain at the foot of my stretcher opens up, and this woman says, listen, were you in the room next to my girlfriend? I said, I don't know, who's your girlfriend? I told her that she's going to get into trouble one of these days. She's been screwing around with her husband for years. And boy, I'd like to see how she's going to deal with this when she gets home to her husband. And then she closed the curtains and left. I go, okay, that's more information than I ever wanted to know. And I was so shocked. Then the nurse comes back. She says, well, the supervisor is going to come, and they're going to want to talk to the two of you, and they'll be here shortly. And I said, okay, thank you. And the supervisors came. What they wanted to talk to us about was our sizes so that we can buy you some clothes, because we lost everything in that fire. So we had to wait for them to go shopping, and then they came back with our clothes, and then we could take a shower and get dressed, and we were discharged from the hospital. Then they took us back to the hotel, and they took us into a conference room. And when we got in there was the hotel manager, the police chief, and the fire chief. And so we go in and sit down, and the first thing the hotel manager says, oh, girls, I'm so sorry what happened to you last night. I hope that one day you'll come back and stay with us, and I promise you'll never be above the 5th floor. And I'm going, the 5th floor? What's with the 5th floor? So I wanted to ask the fire chief, but the police chief says, girls, you're really lucky that you didn't get blown off that ledge last night. And I'm going, oh yeah, I was based in Winnipeg for a while. It's usually very windy, even in the middle of the night at that corner. And there was no wind. Boy, were we lucky. But then I said to the fire chief, what's with the 5th floor? Oh, he says, I'm so sorry about what happened. He says, there was an arsonist running around, and he set another hotel on fire, and we had to put that one out before we could get to you. I'm very sorry. I said, that's okay. What's with the 5th floor? Oh yeah, the 5th floor. Well, our ladders don't reach higher than the 5th floor. And I'm going, oh, thanks, because we were on the 9th floor. Wow. So anyway, when we finished with all the talking and everything with these guys, they took us back to the airport, and they sent us home. Now, over the years, I was always scared at night that I was on fire. But one night, a few years later, I woke up and I was really anxious, and I was trying to get my kids up, and I'm yelling that we were on fire, and my husband jumped out of bed and he grabbed me by the shoulders. Now, he wasn't trying to wake me. He was just holding me steady because I needed to wake up on my own. And finally I did, and I'm looking at him. I said, what's going on? He said, You thought you were in that fire again, and you thought that you were trying to get the kids out. And then he looked into our bedroom and he says, you know, I think I know what the problem is. The curtains in our bedroom are closed. And so if you can't see out at night, you think you're still in that fire. And I said, yeah. So to this day, I can't close the curtains at night because if I can't see out, I still think I'm in that fire.